Hi, how are you? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Are you
Okay.
able to hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, great. Hi, Happy New Year!
Happy New Year to you as well.
First
Given the
Monday for the new year.
circumstances. Yep, I hope it's a wonderful year ahead of us. Looking forward
Thank
to
you
it.
so much.
So, should be good.
Me too. I have a lot of expectations of this year because last year kind of whooped me a little bit. So this year I have expectations. I'm coming back. So
Okay.
thank you for joining us. I hope you had a great day.
I did. It was one of my longer days, but comes with the territory. Nothing too crazy, but yeah. Hope your day was good as well.
It was one of those restful Mondays, thank God. So let's dive into the conversation. All right. So, you are a civil engineer. Can you share a little bit more with us what you do? What's that like? What's the career like? What are your hours like? Because I know a lot of persons have no idea. So we want to give them as much information as we can.
Okay, I'll try not to scare everybody regarding my work hours, but I went to school for civil engineering. I am a civil engineer, transportation engineer by trade. So my focus is mostly on transportation modes that includes roads, bridges, highways. Currently, I am working on light rail projects. So that's just to just kind of give everybody exactly what that is. That is just the trains running down the middle of the roadway. So it's really huge here in Toronto. So I focus on that mostly. This is my second project working on that, but overall just mostly roads. Uh the curvature of the road and everything. It's kind of crazy. My hours are they vary. I'll tell you that much. So today I work like a 12-hour workday, just coming in, trying to get the year off, right? Jumping in, see whatever backlog I have from last year that I kind of put off to get going. Um, in a sense, we kind of work like a 9 to 5, but there will be instances where the hours may look like you're working almost a nurse or a doctor's 12-hour shift, so it's pretty crazy. We work with deadlines. So it is that you get projects based on so we work in projects. So a project could include a resurfacing of a road or building a bridge. And then based on the hours allotted to that project, you kind of work. And then given the deadlines of when that project needs to be completed, that's kind of how we work as engineers here.
Oh, wow. First of all, that 12-hour kind of shook me because I was expecting like maybe 10 hours when you do a little extra. That sounds really busy. So how do you balance that with uh life, like family life, friends life? Well, right now we don't really have a social life, thanks COVID.
I'm still
So
learning how to balance. So I'm fairly young in my career. I'm about 7.5 years in, and from the get-go, you kind of want to make a name like you're an EIT. So when I first started out, sorry, EIT is engineering training. So when I first started out, my manager at that time called me Ego Beaver because I just wanted to go and get going, just jumping in and start working. And um, during that time, I was just constantly working. I would be working, coming in, going into the office at like 6 a.m., leaving. I remember one night, me and a colleague of mine left at like midnight to come back and start the day at 6 o'clock again. And but that was just the nature of a project where it's just like busy, busy, going, going. It's not always that way. But even then, it was just like I couldn't find time because a part of trying to make a name as a EIT and say, hey, look at me, I'm doing well, all of that. That's how my mindset was. So I wasn't able to kind of balance that life. Like I used to get messages that say, oh, I live with my brother. So when my brother messaged me, he goes, I haven't seen you in forever, I miss you, kind of thing. Like, where are you? So that was kind of crazy just seeing those messages. So as years go on now, I'm trying to see if I can balance that. No, I kind of cut back on how many hours I work. Given the times, you can't really partaking, going out and friends and everything, but I'm trying my hardest to make sure that work doesn't swallow me. So what I've been doing now, or the start of this year, starting today, going forward, hopefully I continue it, is that I kind of have that demarcation between work and home. So work is work and home is home. So if I come into the office, when I leave at whatever time I'm leaving today, that's it. Shut down the laptop. I don't go home and I don't turn it on because that's it. When I go home, I have conversation with family and I message a few people on WhatsApp to say, hey, how's everything going? Everything's good. And then that's it. So I'm trying to kind of balance that, and I'm trying my hardest not to work on weekends. I've experienced burnouts, and burnouts are not fun. I remember I amassed maybe, oh, so work, a typical work day is 8 hours. So imagine you amass enough hours to take time off for a month, separate from your vacation hours. That's how
Wow.
hard and long I was working. So when when that burnout reached me, I had to just like pull back and stop. So now, for sure, I don't work as long or as hard as I used to, just because I don't want to feel that again. Because when that burnout happened, you start questioning, why am I doing this again? Like you start hating the job, and it's not
You
what I
lose
want
your
to do.
passion.
Yeah. So I still, my passion is still there, but it's just, I need to, I'm essentially trying to find that balance. It's getting there. It's slowly getting there. Eventually it will get there. So I just need a little more tweaking and work time to work on that. So yeah.
All right. I love that. I love that you're finding the balance even after 7 years. Uh, how has COVID impacted or benefited you, your career?
So I want to say that since COVID, I have been working. I've been working nonstop. Working from home started back in March, just as around the time it kind of blew up, and haven't stopped. So for me, work continued, and in some essence, work continuing and working from home was the new norm. Work kind of went like overboard, like I was doing like no, the 12 hours that I was working turned into 15 because when you're at home, you're thinking that you're not doing enough or you just need to continue working and working and working. So that became our problem because everybody's like, oh, we don't see you. Like, I'm waking up at 6 o'clock to go downstairs in my basement to work. 6 o'clock in the morning. And then when I'm done working, it's like 10 o'clock at night and you're looking like, oh, yeah, there was sun outside today. So over time now it's gotten less and less where you kind of find a balance that work from home isn't really a sentence and that is not a sentence to whatever, and that it's understandable, like you need to get into it and try to navigate how that go. Now it's kind of working better. I decided to come back into the office just because I wanted to have that divide, that line between work and home. So now it's okay. Um, Working less, still trying to work hard, but working less, so it's not too bad.
All
So
right,
yeah.
I love that. I love that you're creating a boundary. Conroy says, good. You don't want to experience burnout. You won't be any good for any company or yourself. Love that. That's true. All right, we have one question from Olivia. She asks, did you always want to be a civil engineer and what sparked the interest?
Okay. So to be honest, I wanted to be a teacher. Um,
Oh,
yes, I wanted to be a teacher because I remember when I was younger, I used to have a whole bunch of teddy bears lined off in the settee, right? And I used to take belt and beat the teddy bear them because I teach them how to spell a cat, and when they never answer me, I used to beat them. It's
right.
like, you need to learn how to spell cat and all of that. So there is that side of it. And then um the first time I traveled to Canada back in '98, and I was just like when you're on a plane and you're looking outside, you never see sorry, somebody laughing at me because I beat the teddy bears. But the first time seeing the highway, right? So you see the highways and you see the twisting and the turning of the road. And I'm there sitting like, how did you come up with that? So that kind of sparked the interest as to, I want to know. And for me, engineering is all about the why and the how. So that kind of sparked it. And then my cousin, I spent one summer in Montego Bay back in I think it was in first form because I went to Campbell College, and in second form you had to choose between French and technical drawing. And I was already doing Spanish and I just wasn't feeling to do three languages after English and Spanish. So I said to my cousin, he's like, I'm doing CXE, or he did CXE that year. So I think that was 2004. So yeah. So I think he did CXE that year, and he was telling me how he had like a picture of a bridge. He's like, that's what I want to be. I want to be a civil engineer. And I was like, ah, cool, what I'm doing. And he tell me. And I go, oh, right. So that means based on a civil engineer, I can be able to find out how them twist and make the road kind of do the loops and the hoops and all of that. So that's really how civil engineering, that thing caught up in my head. But then on top of that, I'm very nosy and I'm always asking why, because I really want to know how, why, what's going on. And to this day, in all the work that I do, I want the problem. Give me the complex stuff. Give me the stuff that have you going, I can't deal with this. You go work it out. And I'll sit down there and try to figure it out and go, this makes sense. No, this doesn't make sense. So that's really how it's a thing for me. Oops, sorry. Sorry, I laughed till I cry. But yeah.
It happens to me all the time.
Yeah. But that's really how it came about for me wanting to be an engineer. And to this day, I enjoy doing what I do. And to be very honest, I feel like I'm one of the more fortunate ones where my career is not a burden. My job is not a burden. I welcome going into the office. I welcome seeing what the new day brings, what kind of problem going to come, because trust me, every day is a new problem. So I enjoy all of that.
I love that. All right. I hope you enjoyed that answer as much as we did, Olivia. All right. So we have another question. We were getting to this one, but here we go. All right. So how does it feel to be a woman in engineer in a male-dominated role?
Okay. It's kind of a long answer, but I'll see how to answer it properly. So for me, I feel proud of myself. I feel proud of myself because when you look at the stats in Canada alone, where only 22% of undergrads in engineering are women, 22%. In Canada alone, for licensed engineers who are women, it's only 13%. In Ontario, the province where I live, only 18.2% are women. So to be in that 18.2% and that 13%, you kind of look at yourself like, okay, not bad. But there's that side of it, and then there's the other side of it where you want to see more of you. I want to see more women looking like me. I want to see more women with me. Like, I'm still in meetings where I'm the only woman. I'm the only woman sitting in meetings. This is 2021. 2021. Yeah. So, like last year, I'm going to meetings and being the only woman, they're still telling you to write minutes. Okay, fine, whatever.
Really?
I'll still write the minutes. It's okay. But like there has to be more. So it's good, and then it's kind of like, how can I do more to see women coming up in the field? Like, there are enough seats at the table for a whole lot of us to be there, and it kind of sucks when sometimes you're alone. Like, I was talking to a friend the other day, and it's like, she messaged me actually to say, guess what? I'm like, yeah, what? I thought she was going to tell me, say, oh, she got a new car. No, she called me to say, I was in a meeting, and maybe she said 10 people in the meeting, and after 10, maybe 9 of them were women. I've never seen that ever. So when you see that, like, it makes you proud, right? So, it's still a lot to do. We're countrywide, they're looking by 2030 to have over 30% of women in the field, and it's still like there's still so much because women can contribute to so much more. We have so much more to offer. Like, when you think about engineering, it's not just engineering is using your brain. It's the knowledge. It's how you apply yourself. And I feel like if we can explain our day-to-day activities I feel like more girls would be willing to be like, okay, I want to be an engineer. I want to do this. I want to fix this. And I think we just need to get that message out there to the women and like, hey, you can do this. And trust me, I believe that if I can do it, if I was able to do it, sitting here talking to you about it, anybody can do it. Because it's just really a drive that we need to, the drive that you need, right? Like, I feel like if you have
I
a drive and determination, there's nothing like, so I feel like it's good, but there's still so much more to do.
and I love that you've started the work. We're proud of you too, especially with Minds of Jamaica. These are things, are conversations that we want to spark and actions that we want to put behind it. And I'm so glad that you're a mind. You volunteered of yourself to just say, hey, I want to see more women at the table. I want to bring them up in to mentor them and show them that, hey, we can have a different perspective. And for persons who are on who've never spoken to an engineer, we have Alicia on with us. And you can always go to themindsofcom and message her, send her a message, try to connect with her. I'm sure she has a wealth of knowledge that she would love to share. So if you need her as a mentor, guys, we have the plug. All right, so I love that answer. I hope Shav XX was able to get the answer they wanted from that. So much more question. Kamir asked, hey Cam. Kamir asks, did you have a career? Did you have a career mentor? If yes, how did they impact you?
Did I
Oh,
have a
you're
career
the selective.
mentor?
Sorry.
Ah, I didn't only have one. I had multiple. And I give it a backstory of all three just so you guys have a clear understanding of how these people kind of got me into the frame of mind of work and everything and kind of just like steered me towards that, right? Um, the first career mentor, like the first one I look at and say, that's my first mentor, was my second job out of school. So that was back in 2015. And he's no like a grandfather in that sense where he kind of just took me under his wings. So you know when you believe in yourself, but sometimes you just feel eh, like you have them doubts in your head, like, are you sure or whatever? And then you have somebody look on you and tell you say, what are you doing? Like you can't do it. Like that person believes in you more than you believe in yourself. That's what he was to me. Back in 2015, so I started out in construction. Them time there, I never know nothing. Like, he's doing stuff and like you get requesting and whatever. That second job, I was now going into detail design. I did not know AutoCAD or MicroStation like that. So that's just the design software that we use, that most companies use. And if
Educate
you
us,
want to
yes.
be, yeah, if you want to be an engineer, make sure you're like awesome in anything AutoCAD related and anything Bentley related. Just putting that out there. Because when you have those, I promise you, people look at your resume like, oh, perfect. We need to get them. Knowing those software is like the into it. But back to the question. So, I don't know anything. Uh, so so I got an interview with him because somebody referenced or told him about me from the previous job and he wanted to meet me. And so we went in, we spoke and whatever and all of that. Now, this man is very old school. And when I mean old school is that he'll start working, he's into the office by 5:30 sending emails. You go into the office and you see all these emails, they're looking like, bro, I just wake up. Stop. So when you get that, right? So I remember I've never done a detailed design package in my life. I mean, detailed design package is just the drawings. Trying to find one. It's just the drawings that the contractor will use to read and see what's going on in order to build whatever you want in the field, right? I've never ever done one of those. And this man look at me and tell me, say, okay, you're going to do this. I'm like, what do you mean I'm going to do this? He's like, I don't know what to do. He's like, sink or swim, go figure it out. And I'm like,
Oh,
what? So I'm like, all right, like, I asked him, like, you believe I can do this? He's like, yeah. I wouldn't have asked you if I didn't believe, right? So I was like, okay. So it took me a while. I got there. Um, when I finally did the first draft of that package, I've never seen so much red ink in my life. The way he marked it up and do all of that and everything. And part of that was also so you know when somebody curses at your animation like the cartoons where somebody's looking at you like crazy. So,
Hold on, it's loading.
uh
Yeah,
sorry, yeah,
you're back.
can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know when you get like those cartoon characters and the craziness, like it's something you just that's what he wrote on my package. And I was just like, oh crap. And we sat down, we had a whole conversation. He's like, no, this is what I need you to do, look into this, look into that, and all of that, right? And from there, he kind of built up my confidence in doing those packages to the point where a year or two in, he had me leading the civil design on multiple stations for a big project. And he was coming to me like, okay, I need you to go to meetings. He's like, don't worry about it. Just go and tell me what happened. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, these people are crazy. Like, them scary, you know? And he's like, no, I have confidence in you. Like, go. So he kind of gave me the first step into building that career moving forward of what to expect and what to look at and all of that. My second mentor, same company, but different side of stuff. He wanted to, so the first one got to know me on a level where it's the technical abilities, and then we're able to talk, have conversations because we're in the office together at 6 o'clock in the mornings and all of that. So he saw somebody that was hardworking and willing to work. So him seeing that in me, he gave me more and kind of pushed that. The second one saw that I was kind of, yes, she has a technical ability, but there's more to her than the technical aspect of it. Like, try to get into her head, see what's going on, talk to her. So I spoke with him more on a level where, all right, I'm not liking design no more. Like, I don't know where I want to go with the career, what you think I should do. He would never tell me where to go with my career. He would always go, no, think about it, come back to me and tell me what you want to do, right? Kind of like that. So in that aspect, he kind of just listened to me. He listened to me going, I don't like this anymore. I'm not feeling this. What more I need to do? Like, what you think I should do? What should I be doing? Like, what should I be doing different? Like, this is where I want to move. This is where I don't want to move. I'm thinking about doing my master's. He's like, are you sure you want to do that? Like, I don't see you doing that. Like, he was just that. He was maybe that person that was like, yeah, I'm not telling you what to do. Like, I'll hint at you to like look at here, but like kind of take it back. So there's that one. And then the third person is my current manager who's retiring this Friday. And she announced her retirement last year. And I sort of avoided her for the longest time because I was kind of sad that she was retiring. And the only reason I was sad because I just felt like I didn't get enough time with her. This
But
is
you
a lady
avoid her,
that's
lose more time. Okay.
no. It's kind of like you sad. You don't want to talk like But this is like, and I think she's like my favorite just because one, she's a woman, and two, she told me why she hired me. She told me why I got the job. But for her, I told her she's my girl crush. She's like,
Yeah.
when I found out, she's like, and she's blushing. I'm like, no, you don't understand. You're my girl crush. She's licensed in multiple states in the US. She's here as head of a whole country's department. Like she has over 20 plus years experience. And I spent like an hour on the phone with her and she looked at me and she said, when I was retiring, I felt like I wasn't ready to retire. And I'm like, why? She's like, because I felt like I didn't do enough. This is a woman that spent 20 years. Her accolades are above and beyond. Looking at me, telling me that she felt like she didn't do enough, like she didn't become a CEO or this. And I'm like, I accepted this job 30 minutes into getting that job offer because of you. There's
Oh,
finally a woman that was there, willing and ready to kind of teach me everything that I needed to know and more. We have conversations, like I'll just ask her a question and I'll leave with so much just mind blown because she takes that conversation and turns it into so much more, into a lesson.
I love that.
So I really enjoy it, whether it's technical. And then I asked her, I'm like, she's like, you know what? Don't worry. We'll keep in touch. I am now your mentor officially. Don't worry. So I was like, that's good because these people are people you don't want to lose contact with, right? And
Right.
they're all people with like 20, 30 years experience. But these are mentors because they're at that time in their life where it's time for them to teach the younger people now. For them now, it's just their passion is still there, but their passion now is to teach that next great engineer. And back when I was my first year at university, I had to write like a bursary thingy, and I wrote a letter as to why they should give me this bursary. And I'll never forget because I said, you should give me this because I am going to be, I think I said, one of the best female engineers in Canada, something along those lines. And to this day, I haven't forgotten it because I feel like that is where I'm headed. And I feel like with these three people in my life, I know that I'll get there because they have the knowledge and everything that I feel like I'll need to kind of work my way to get into the top and where I see myself going. I'm not sure if I
Sis,
really
you're a
answered
good
the
one.
question.
Way more than answer the question. Come here, I hope that was enough of an answer for you because I'm almost teary-eyed. So yeah, I love that for you. Um, wow. Guys, I am getting so many questions, I don't know where to start. All right, so Mel, I think Kamir answered you on how you can get Alicia to be your mentor. Uh, wow. All right. Sorry. So another question. Olivia is asking, where did you study? Did you work full time right after college? Did you get some internships? How'd that go for you?
Okay, so I studied here in Toronto at Ryerson University. Um, did I work full time right after college? Oh God, I wish I did. I wish I did. It took me 6 months. Let's count April. So I graduated so my last exam was April. I didn't get my first job until October 15th, 2013. So in that span of time, I was working part-time at Walmart, sending out applications, sending out applications, sending out applications. And I think one of the most depressing things in life is sending out job applications and all you're receiving is nope, 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 nope,
Nope,
nope, nope, nope, nope, nope, nope.
I agree.
Oh my God, it was so frustrating. Um, Internships. So one of my biggest regrets, and I haven't regretted a lot, is not doing internships. And I think part of that was because I didn't have that guidance in school at that time to tell me that look into internships, look into doing that. Because in my head, I just wanted to finish school and just start working, not knowing that internships and resume building and CV building is awesome. So that is one of my regrets. Because even in interviews, even when I interviewed for my last job, the person asked, so did you do any internships? And I'm like, I'm almost 10 years into my career and you're asking me about internships. So it goes to show, it's just like, really? And I got to take a step back, like, 10 years and you're still asking about internship? So I would tell anybody that's looking at like, get those summer internships in. If you do co-op, make sure you go on that co-op term because internships are amazing. You'll learn a lot. And trust me, in some essence where you feel like it's grunt work you're doing, you're still learning. I don't know if you guys remember that movie. There's a Karate Kid with the wax on and the wax off, and how he used to get
Right.
upset and annoyed until Mr. Miyagi kind of showed him like, no, like when you learn the basics and understanding you build on that, that's how you kind of build that knowledge. So I would tell you guys, get those internships and network, 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 network. When you go to those internships and you're in those jobs, make friends, make acquaintances, take emails, take numbers. You don't have to talk every day. Maybe once a week, maybe once a month, maybe every quarter. Make sure you still catch up. Because guess what? When that time come, and I trust me,
Time will come.
to this day, I have managers coming up and they go, you know anybody who wants like I'm looking about EIT, you know, an engineer and all of that. And I feel bad because I'm like, I don't know nobody. So there's so many times my managers reach out to me and say, I need this, I need this. You know anybody? You know anybody? And for me, if it's one thing I will do is I will send somebody in to say, hey, it's not a given, but what I want you to do is just go in there and just be yourself, talk to them, right? I can maybe get you an interview, but that's about it. You have to do the rest, right? But even get to that interview is awesome because you go in and you get to get that person. So I'll say just do that. Um, Working full time after college, but yeah.
Love that. All right, so Olivia, hope that was able to answer your question. All right, so next one, and I think this one is going to be one that you enjoy answering. Shav X, what advice would you give to young girls who lack confidence in going into a male-dominated field?
Uh, you dream it. Like if you conceive it in your head, that is something that you can do. Who is anybody to tell you that you can't do it? Listen, listen. It's a male-dominated field, but guess what? When you come in there and you know what you know and the knowledge that you have, they look at you like, oh, really? They're looking at you. Then when they look at you now, they're coming back to you every single time to be like, hey, what's up? Can you tell me this? Can you tell me what's that? Can you tell me what's going on and all of that? So it's building confidence, right? We're all nervous. I was nervous doing this live. I'm still nervous going into meetings. Like to this day, like I go into meetings and I'm just like, oh snap, don't call on me, don't do this, don't do that. But if you know what you know too, right? Like if you prepare yourself and do all of that. So to anybody, I'm just building my confidence now. So it's not like it comes over time and you will get there. But I think for me, where I lack confidence is that if you know what you know, when you go into any room, ask any questions or anything, and you're able to answer and defend yourself and defend anything of choice that you make, nobody look at you like, oh, no. No, because guess what? You're able to do that. So when they see that you know something and you're able to do that, there is no way in hell somebody can tell that you lack confidence. Because guess what? You're able to show that you know. And I think
also do your research so you know what you're talking about. So that kind of builds your confidence too.
yep.
All right, so I'm going to try to let this one be the last one. If there are more questions, guys, we can always reach out to Alicia and have her answer them for us, or you can connect with her on themindsof.com so that you can get a more in-depth experience of her. All right, so this one is from Session, I think I'm pronouncing it right, .Jen. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome, and if so, how did you overcome it?
Have I ever experienced imposter syndrome? To this day, I'm still experiencing imposter syndrome. I'll give you a story. Last year, like 2 weeks ago, we did the yearly reviews, right? And they were going over just my how I did throughout the year and all of that. And some of the stuff they were saying, my manager was like, oh, somebody said this and somebody said that. And then listening to him, and he had it on the screen and I was reading what he was saying. And I was just like, you sure you're talking about me? Like, you sure it's me you're talking about? I kid you not. The only bad thing that was on the review was that I needed to delegate and that I'm shy. And I'm like, you sure these people talking about me? And I was like, no, something wrong. Like, I feel like your yearly review should be where you have constructive criticism. Like, tell me what I do wrong, tell me what's going on, tell me where I need to improve, tell me where I need to do this. But everything was like, nope, met expectations, above expectation. Like, it's up there. And I'm just like, no, but I slack off. I didn't do this on time. Like, this was missing. I missed this deadline. Like, I was focusing on everything bad that I thought I did throughout that year. And then I had a conversation with my mother. My mother is like, yeah, but I think that maybe your standard for yourself is just a little bit too high. I'm like,
Wow.
your standard, not, my standard for myself can never be too high. Like, you just have to put yourself to a standard where you know that you can sit. But then I went back and I sat down and I did some like reflection. I was just like, what they say are wrong. Like, them never said anything wrong. When you think about it, you did all of that. But maybe, like, I was just but, like, seriously, I'm still puzzled because some of the stuff was just like, I was just like, yeah, like, I know, like, for the shy thing, they're like, if you talk to her, you'll get a world of knowledge, or she'll just, like, she has so much to say. And I'm just like, it's not that I'm shy, it's just that I'm an observer. I tend to sit back and watch. I feel like you get power in watching than you talking too much or talking too loudly. So that's how my shyness kind of come through. When it's time for me to speak up, I will speak up because if you're wrong, I go tell you say you're wrong. So there's just all of that, right? So overcoming it is really when I do some self-reflection and I look into it and I be like, okay, so they said this, or I look into this. Maybe that's true. But also, one of the things I've been to seminars where they've spoken how women um they second guess themselves. We tend to second guess ourselves as women. And a perfect example they'll use, and I say it's a perfect example because I did that exact same thing. When applying for jobs, jobs have the list of requirements that will make you a perfect candidate. And a woman will have 8 out of that 10 and will still not apply to that job because they didn't have the two that was necessary.
Right.
But you'll have the
Yes.
man that have 4 or 5 and him go tell you say him can do that job. So it just like it's stuff like that where they said it's time for us to start believing in ourselves and start realizing that, hey, you're good. You're great. Like you can do anything. So that's sort of how I kind of get over it where I look at it and be like, Alicia, you already know you can do stuff. You already know this is what you do. You already know you did that. So why are you trying to be like coy and be like, oh, me? I don't know if it's me. I don't know.
Right.
So yeah. I don't know. Maybe I answered your question.
I hope you did. All right. So there is an outpour of love in the comments, and I just want to go through a few of them. Xavier Biggs says, proud of you, big sis. Proud of you, sis. Love that. All right, you are awesome beyond measures. You are a go-getter, and that we love, and we will continue to love you. Can't pronounce this one, and not go even try G or something. Jamie says hi. All right, so I love all the answers. The questions pretty much covered all the topics that we were planning to talk about. But guys, I just want to remind you that if you are looking to connect with Alicia as a mentor, please go to our platform, themindsOff.com, and we will definitely. Oh, your nephew is on. Hi. And you can definitely connect with her. As you can see, she has a wealth of knowledge and experience that, trust me, if I was looking to become a civil engineer, sis, I'd definitely be on.
It doesn't have to be civil
I'm not.
engineer though. It can be anything. Like I'm open to anybody coming to me for advice. Like it doesn't have to be just like girl power at the end of the day, right? It doesn't have to be just civil engineering.
Love this. All right. not gonna ask any more question, but what I'll use the time to do is, if there are persons or students looking to join a career, especially a male-dominated career, what advice would you give them? I know you told them about internship and networking earlier, but is there anything else you'd like to share? Any knowledge you'd prefer them to have from early? Um, yeah, just advice that would be helpful for them to start. Just to start.
Just to start.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what anybody wanting to, or just young women wanting to join the
Uh,
male-dominated field.
anybody wanting to start, they're looking into their careers, they're probably not even sure if this is the career for them. What would you tell them to start? Just a
Okay.
little motivation.
At least okay. I think I can do that. So one, anybody that's online right now, I would tell you number one, please to visit Nicole McLaren Campbell's Instagram, because she did a live yesterday where she spoke about vision board and how to like create that. But in that live, it's about 48 minutes long. She had somebody join her live, and that exact same question was asked, and what the lady said was, you need to determine your path. Like, what are you passionate about? What fuels the fire in you? For me, my fire comes from learning and wanting to know the why. My fire comes from also teaching. Like, I did tutoring on the side. So anything that I know, I want to pay it forward to somebody else. So what you want to do is find that passion. Once you find that passion, what you need to do now is kind of develop the goals. Try to say, dream, if you can dream anything, like you want to see where you see yourself in 10 years, 15 years. Not just, oh, I want to be rich, not just, oh, I want to do this, but what do you see yourself enjoying? Like your career has to be something, has to be something that, yeah, that you love. Like, like you cannot see yourself not doing it. If you can find something that's that meaningful to you, you already started. You already started. Definitely planning. You have to plan. You have to plan. You have to plan. You have to plan. You can say, "Oh, I wish to do this," or "I want to do this," but if you're not planning, if you're not seeing what those mini steps are, you're not really going to get nowhere, because a goal without a plan is really just a wish, right? And not all of us have that genie in a bottle that we can rub to kind of get that wish going, right? So with that, with those goals and the planning now comes the hard work. Like you have to want it. You have to want it. That's where you kind of put in the Mamba mentality, right? That's where you kind of go into that the Kobe Bryant mentality, the Cristiano Ronaldo, the Messi, the LeBron James. That's how you kind of go into that mentality. Um, they haven't stopped working. These are guys that are like 20 years, like what Cristiano Ronaldo is like, what, almost like him and Messi 20 years into football. You're looking at them like, you guys should be retiring. And they're maybe just at their peaks. Like, yes, it's football, but you can really just align that to what you want to do. Whether it's engineering, whether it's painting, whether it's being an entrepreneur, whether it's teaching, whether anything that you want to do, that's kind of the mindset that you have to go into it with, right? Um, what else? So you have to have that mindset, the determination, and trust me, not every like people think that failure is some like failures are lessons, and nothing is a failure. A mistake is an error that you learn from, and then you move forward, right? Like your mistakes are lessons. Your mistakes are lessons. So, and that's where you build your knowledge from, right? That's where you learn that, okay, now I know that I cannot and will not do that again. So you learn from that one mistake, right? You only need to make that one time, because um, once you learn from that mistake, you build on that, right? So you make the mistake and then you move on and you kind of build, and that's how you kind of get going on knowledge and everything. Like a mistake that I made was that they asked me to set up a meeting to discuss something that's happening. And one of them was So I set up the meeting, not realizing that I was supposed to run the meeting. So the meeting comes on, everybody looking at it, and I was like, Alicia, do you want to start sharing your screen so we can get going? Uh, so I'm in meetings with like director of this and director of that and manager of this and all of that. That was so embarrassing for me, right? That's when you start working from home. So you see, now I have never gone into a meeting unprepared. If I have a meeting at 3 o'clock, my desktop has all the PDFs and all the drawings ready to go by 7 o'clock in the morning. I was like, nope, I need to sit down and have everything ready, because when it comes to that meeting, I'm just turning on my screen and everything is there. So you learn from the mistakes, right? So that's where you kind of go from there. So what I have the goals of planning. You have to do the hard work. Oh, you have to be determined to succeed. If you sit there and think that, oh, it's too much work, or I can't bother, or I feel it from now, inspiration and motivation will only last for so long. It's consistency and determination that really gets you going. And I can sit here and tell you that because I'm learning it right now. There are some days where I feel like I don't want to do anything, or this is just too much. And then you have to remember the goal that you set way back when you started the passion, right? You have to remember why you started doing this. There's that part of it. And there's also go out there, talk to people. Like, put yourself out there too, right? There's a networking, and then there's a put yourself out there, volunteer. Get to know people, get to know what's what, understand and all of that, right? Communicating, yeah, you have your technical skills, like the whole, whether you swim, you have to be able to swim fast and all that. So technical ability to swim, the technical ability to sew and do the fashion and all of that. In there, you also need to learn how to communicate, right? You need to learn those soft skills. You need to understand how to communicate with people, how to deal with people, because that also goes a far way. And one thing I've read it and I've not forgotten it. You treat the janitor with the same respect you treat the CEO. Nobody's above you, nobody's below you. You talk to that person with the same respect that you talk to your mother and anybody that you believe deserve your respect. And I think everybody deserves respect, right? So you need to have that mindset too. And I want to say, be humble. Be confidently humble. Confidently humble. Not cocky, but confidently humble. Be sure in who you are. And I believe that with all of that, I don't see you failing. Like, if you tell yourself, say you can do something, promise me you can do something, and you most likely will do something. If you're hungry and want it badly enough, there's nothing that is going to stop you from getting it. It's the hunger that fuels you. So if you're not feeling that hunger, you need to reevaluate.
All right, sis, that was a whole word, and I'm so excited that I was able to have this conversation with you today. Trust me, I'm always excited for these conversations because you learn so much, and having different perspective and persons share from their experiences, it's always such a wealth for me. So I'm grateful for everyone that was able to spend the hour with us, and thank you so much, Alicia. I also want to thank our sponsor for today, which is Charmed and Elegance Gift. Guys, you can go over to their page on Instagram. There is also a code that we have available so that you can get some discounts on your gifts. Thank you so much for your time, Alicia, and thank you so much
No
for
problem. I enjoyed this.
Me too. All right, thank you guys for joining us. Bye, Alicia.
Right, bye.
Also, we'll be saving the live to our YouTube channel, the Minds of Jamaica YouTube channel. So you can always check this out if you ever need a little more motivation or a recap of the motivation that Alicia just gave us. Bye.
Right, bye.